Hey guys, real quick, what's your favorite food? 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Now, imagine if somebody told you that you could never eat that food again. How would you feel? First of all, you're going to say, that's probably not going to happen. But second, you're probably going to want that food. And just think about, a diet, especially strict diets. They say you cannot eat this, you cannot eat that. And guess what happens? That's exactly what a person who is on that strict diet is going to want. Well, the same thing happened to my dad. When he had his heart attack, he was around 49 years old, he had a heart attack. And in the hospital, of course, they put him on a heart health diet. Well, before I even picked up the menu, he said, absolutely not. I don't want it. Not going to happen. He said, I want food with taste. I don't want to eat cardboard. I don't want to eat green beans that don't have any flavor. And of course, that's not the meals that came, that were delivered. But I knew what he meant. He meant that he wanted to be able to enjoy, at least in some part, the foods that he liked. And I know that that's what everybody wants. We all want to be able to sit down and, take that favorite food and, eat it at least every now and again. But when you hear the word like healthy, or diet, a lot of times our mind just automatically clicks and says, oh my God, this is not going to be good. I'm going to stay away from this. And really, it comes down to flavor versus function. And should we really have to choose? I'm Lacey Stevens with Fit by 50 Plus, and I'm here to tell you today that you don't necessarily have to choose. I am here to show you how to combine the flavor that, flavors that you love to eat with the functionality of helping you to control risk factors that could lead to heart disease. I've been keeping my cholesterol in check for, at least half my life. And I've been doing it, through food and exercise. So I want you today to, if you've got those thoughts in your head that, oh God, she just said healthy, I'm tuning out. No, don't do that. This is going to really be a good meal. I am going to prepare a mango habanero salsa, which I absolutely positively love. And I'm going to pair that with some sockeye salmon and some green beans. And when I say that this meal will be full of flavor, I absolutely mean that. And really, when you think about it, if you were faced with a choice where somebody said, absolutely, you can't eat that, this is a life and death situation, of course I understand. But if you can learn to take the foods that you love, maybe tweak them a little bit, maybe eat those in moderation, just think you can still enjoy the foods that you've enjoyed your entire life, regardless of your health condition. And you're doing that while you're still working every day intentionally to keep your risk factors for heart disease down. It's a win-win situation, right? Absolutely. So let's go ahead and get started. So in my mango habanero salsa, I use 1 habanero. Now, some people will seed this. I don't. I love spicy food as long as it's got flavor. And 1 habanero with the seeds for me is not going to be too much. Usually I'll have 2 cloves of garlic. These are kind of small. So I'm going to go ahead and make paste with these 3 cloves of garlic. I will use the juice of 2 limes. I'm going to cut up about 2 tablespoons. I'm going to mince up about 2 tablespoons of the red onion. And I'm going to use the 2 mangoes. It's going to give me about 2.5 cups of mangoes once they're all diced. And I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of extra light tasting olive oil. Mix that up, set it aside for a few minutes, and then I'll start on the salmon and the green beans. So I am going to just move everything out of the way here real quick. And I'm going to go ahead and get started with my mango. Ooh, my mango looks like it's already trying to give me some of its good juices. Now this is the way I cut mine. And if you've ever seeded a mango, trying to get that seed out, there are lots of different techniques. This is the technique that I find that works best for me, which is the way that I actually prefer. So I'm going to go ahead and finish peeling and chopping and getting all of the ingredients together. And we will be right back. So I've got my mango diced up the way I'd like it. Also, I've got that habanero. You see the seeds are still in here. And so now I am just working on creating a paste, a garlic paste. Go ahead and get this, the garlic cloves chopped up pretty finely. I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt and then start mashing it with the side of my knife so that I can create that beautiful paste. You know, this is something else that reminds me a lot of my dad. And it's crazy how your tastes and your preferences change, because it seemed like he cooked everything with garlic. And at a certain point, I was like, please, don't put garlic in anything, ever, ever. And of course now I put garlic in just about everything, because it just, I mean, it enhances the flavors like you just wouldn't imagine. And especially when you're going for flavor and you've got fruits and herbs and spices that will help to get the flavor that you're looking for, even if you're using it as a substitute, so that you don't use maybe as much salt or items that contain sodium. It just kicks it up. To borrow a phrase from the great Emeril Lagasse, it kicks it up like 2 or 3 different notches. Starting to form that paste for me, starting to get nice and sticky, which is exactly the way I like it in my mango habanero salsa. Smudge and smear. And it's nice and sticky, and you can just pick it up with your knife. So I'm just gonna take it, sit it down, and grab my onion. Go ahead and get my onion chopped up, and we'll just keep on moving. All right, guys, so now I've got my mango diced up. This is gonna be roughly about 2.5 cups of mango. I've got the, here's my habanero chopped up. You can tell the seeds are still there. My garlic, I have created a garlic paste. Usually if I've got 2 good size cloves, I just mince up those 2, but these were a little bit smaller, so I did 3. And then this is gonna be about 2 tablespoons of the purple onion. So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this all together in my bowl. And we've got our paste. Cannot forget the habanero. And about 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons exactly of the minced. Now there are a couple of bigger chunks in here. Somebody's gonna get a really nice surprise. But that flavor, once it sets up and just marries it, is just absolutely phenomenal. We're going to take 2 tablespoons And this is actually a 2 tablespoon measuring spoon. You know, people ask me all the time, do you really measure? Yes, I measure. And it's for a very specific reason. And if you've ever seen, you know, any of my other videos that deal with cooking, you know that I give nutrition information. And in order to give that nutrition information, I've got to have the measurements. So at the end of the video, we'll actually go through and we'll look at the nutrition information for what a single serving of this will look like, including the green beans and the salmon. So we've got all of that. We need the juice of 2 limes. Already rolled that out. And I will just squeeze this in. Oh goodness, that lime juice, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but limes, when you start to work with limes, it smells almost like cinnamon or something. There is a phenomenal smell, fragrance, aroma that these guys have that I just absolutely positively love. Get back in there. Want all that juice. And what I'll do is I will grab my spoon and my cilantro, and I will be right back. And you know, talk about that fragrant aroma of the limes, the cilantro. Oh my goodness. And it's weird, I've got for me, cilantro is kind of like for me, my cilantro story is kind of like my garlic story, where really, I don't think I really was exposed to cilantro a lot growing up. And the first time I tasted it, I didn't like it. But since then, oh my goodness, I can eat cilantro. Oh my goodness. And it just, that fragrance is, oh, too bad this is not smell a video because, oh, you just absolutely love it. Now, when I add my cilantro, I just, you know, kind of do a rough chop because it's going to wilt a little bit, and I want to get those big hearty chunks, those big flakes, as big as possible. And I just take it and I sprinkle that over. Usually it's going to be about 1/4 of a cup. Add that. And then just gently stir that around. Start to get everything all mixed in. Oh yeah, now it's a party. Oh yeah. Ooh. See, these guys are trying to jump ship. Guess what's gonna happen to every one of them? That lime, oh my God. And I'm here to tell you right now, that habanero has some heat to it. Woo! That means this is going to be delicious. It's a little red onion trying to run away. Darn it, he made it. I'm just gonna stir this up. Pop it in the refrigerator for about at least 15 minutes to just let those flavors start to marry. And take it out. You can serve this chilled. You can serve it by itself. You can grab some tortillas, some tortilla chips, and just dip it. But you're talking about the best eating ever. Oh. Snap that top on it. Throw it in the fridge, and we'll get. will get started on the salmon and the green beans. Now, how delicious is this? You can look at this plate and see not just the color, but the flavor. It just jumps off the plate right into your camera. So the mango habanero salsa it's got the different colors and textures. Like I said a little bit earlier, that habanero has really heated up, and it's starting to do its thing for me. The salmon, I just took it, I actually sprayed it with an olive oil spray. With the olive oil spray, and what that does is it saves about 110 calories, because there's about 110 calories in a tablespoon of olive oil. So I take it, spray it with olive oil spray on both sides, and just season it, salt, pepper, and I actually go in and create garlic paste and put that garlic paste on top, and that helps it to cook. Now, one thing that I like when it comes to salmon is I like a crunchy skin. So I start out, when I bake it, I start out with the salmon skin down, and then I flip it about halfway through, and then it starts to bubble and crisp up. So I made sure to, try to keep the juice from my mango habanero salsa from creeping over, because I love that crispy crunch with that on that skin. And then we've got the green beans. So this is half a cup of mango habanero salsa, about 4 ounces of sockeye salmon, and 3/4 of a cup of green beans cooked with bouillon cubes, actually. Now I am going to go over the individual nutrition information for the different foods. So for the salmon by itself, 4 ounces of salmon, it contains 220 calories, no carbs, 8 grams of fat, and of the fat, only 1.5 of those grams are saturated. So that means we've got, and the saturated fat is the bad fat. So we've got lots of good fat in the salmon. There are 38 grams of protein, only 85 milligrams of cholesterol. The salmon itself contains 135 milligrams of sodium. I added 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, which is 590 milligrams of sodium, for a total of 725 milligrams of sodium. But there's no sugar, and the salmon actually contains iron and also contains potassium, and that doesn't even include the benefits of the garlic. So the half of cup of mango habanero salsa contains 107 calories, which is made up of 15.1 grams of carbs, 6 grams of fat, and of that, only 9/10 of 1 gram, so less than 1 gram of that is saturated, which is the bad fat, which means we've got some pretty good fat, which would be expected because we did add the extra light tasting olive oil. This contains 1 gram of protein, no cholesterol, only 2 milligrams of sodium, and 12 grams of sugar, which we would expect because mangoes are sweet. But the good part about that is the fact that there's no added sugar. It's just the sugar from the mango that occurs naturally. Now, with this being a mango, it's a fruit. It's got vitamin A, it's got vitamin C, it's got calcium, iron, and potassium. So you're getting lots of benefits there. So we'll move on to the green beans. This is 3/4 of a cup of green beans, which is 36 calories. Now, with the green beans, what I do when I cook my green beans, I just put enough water in the skillet to really just to cover the bottom. And then I use 1.5 bouillon cubes. And I know you're thinking, oh, lots of sodium, and I'm glad you're thinking that way, but I want you to listen to the sodium total before you make your final decision. So this 3/4 of a cup of green beans contains 36 calories, and that does include the bouillon cubes. 7.2 grams of carbs, no fat, so no saturated fat either, 1 gram of protein, no cholesterol, and 235.7 milligrams of sodium. And you're thinking, wait a minute, how is it? Well, when you take the entire bag of green beans and the 1.5 bouillon cubes, there are 7 servings in the, excuse me, there are 7 servings of green beans in the bag. So you've got to divide the total amount of sodium by the 7 to get to the 235.7 milligrams of sodium. And there are 2.2 grams of sugar, believe it or not. And the green beans also contain calcium. So when you look at this entire plate, we are looking at 363 calories. Can you believe that? That's absolutely phenomenal. 363 calories. 22.3 grams of carbs. 14 grams of fat with only 2.4 grams of saturated fat. So that's a really good amount, a really small amount, which is good. And then we've got 40 grams of protein, only 85 milligrams of cholesterol, 962.7, we'll say 963 milligrams of sodium. And if you have issues with your sodium, you definitely have to pay attention to this particular column. And we'll come back to that in just a minute. And then with the sugar, there are 14.2 grams of sugar in this entire meal. So when I say this is some phenomenal eating, full of flavor, that's exactly what I mean. You know, there's a commercial, I think it's Frank's Hot Sauce, and they say, we put this on anything. This mango habanero salsa, I can eat this with just about anything. It is good. You give me a spoon and some mango habanero salsa, I need a couple of measuring cups, because it's simple, but it's light. The fusion of flavors it just explodes in your mouth. And when I say this is some good eating, and everything here is full of flavor. There's no cardboard here. We don't have the green beans, you know, straight out of the can, or green beans with no flavor. We've actually added flavor to this meal. So if you do have issues with, we talked about the sodium, 963 milligrams of sodium. The American Heart Association recommends about 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day, with the intent to work that down to 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day. And so when you look at that, we know that the vast majority of the sodium came in the green beans. So what do? You look at the big player, and you can take that. Instead of 1.5 bouillon cubes, maybe you only do 1 bouillon cube, or half a bouillon cube. But you have the ability to take any of these different ingredients, any of the different elements, and customize them so that they help you to maintain the risk factors. You've got to keep your risk factors for heart disease, for the high blood pressure, high cholesterol, obesity, diabetes. You've got to keep all of that in check. So when you know what your maximum amount of sodium intake is for the day, you say 962.7. If that's too much for you, I understand. Take it, customize it, back it down. Even with a 1,500 milligram even with 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day that I take in, I still, even with this meal, I won't come anywhere near it, because the foods that I eat throughout the day don't have that much. They have sodium, but because I want the flavor, but I'm still not going to hit that 1,500 milligrams. It's just not going to happen. I'm used to that. I'm in that habit. And you can do that with the sugar, 14.2 grams of sugar. If that's too much for you, if that doesn't fit your needs, take it and tweak it. Maybe instead of a half a cup of the mango habanero salsa, you get 1/3 of a cup or 1/4 of a cup, which means you are still enjoying the food that you love to eat, and you're still staying within your budget. That is going to help keep those risk factors for heart disease in check. So I am going to stop talking and go ahead and dig in, because I'm just standing here looking at this food and smelling it is really making me hungry. And it's been 2 hours since I ate last anyway, so it's time. So I am going to go ahead and take a bite. I know a lot of people might start with the salmon. This mango habanero salsa, I'm telling you, oh, this is just to die for. Just give me a spoon. Ooh, there's the heat. There's the heat. You know, I wish I could just sit and eat this by itself, like as a dessert or something, because I definitely would. Give me that snap there. You see, I had to pull that apart. You know, a little earlier, I said how growing up, it seemed like my dad put garlic on everything. And I got to the point where I said, please, no more garlic. This garlic has cooked, and it has infused with the pepper. I'm a ground pepper addict, so I've got lots of ground pepper on here too. It's and just that little pinch of salt, and it's absolutely positively perfect. And the green beans, the chicken bouillon, it's not overpowering. It's just enough to give it flavor. I don't want to eat something that tastes like it just came out of a can. These taste like they're nice and fresh. Some people like a little more crunch and snap. I like mine a little bit softer. To me, I get a little bit more flavor that way. But I'm telling you, this entire dish, especially for 363 calories and the rest of the nutrient information, you absolutely cannot beat this. So if you are, whether you are working to keep your risk factors for heart disease down or not, this right here, you eat this, it's absolutely to die for. You will love it, just like I do. So if you think this video helped you, or if you know somebody that you think it might help, hit the like button below. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any more of my upcoming videos. And please, please leave me a comment. I would love to know what you think. Thank you.